Hi folks, I'm Ross Minton, this is Grow Your Own Life, and today I'm going to talk about these fellas, bulbs. So please like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get to it. So a lot of people think bulbs can only really be planted in autumn and early winter, and that January is far too late to sow bulbs. But the fact of the matter is, bulbs are an investment. Bulbs pretty much can go in the ground whenever you can get hold of them. Most bulbs will do better in their second year anyway. So that first year, it's not about getting them in a specific time, it's just about getting them in. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather have bulbs in my garden late than not have bulbs at all. So get some bulbs, even now, even in February if you can find some, and just stick them in the ground. They'll be fine. You won't get a massive bouquet of flowers this year, but next year you'll see the benefits. Bulbs are an investment for your garden, so whenever you can get hold of them, and you can get hold of them at a reasonable price, just get them in. And they encourage nature, and they encourage the bees, the butterflies and everything else, and they're one of the first plants that starts to flower in the springtime, and they give nature a chance, so get some in. I'm on my allotment today. I have a few bulbs scattered around. I have some daffodils by the pond, I have some pots with some tulips in, and now I have more daffodils, more, I can never say it, narcissist, and I have some tulips to go in. I'll show you the selection I've got now. They're just all a mixed bag. They came from the GT Bulb Company, and you can find them at Twitter at GT Bulb Co. Got that one out. And they're a really cool company, to be fair. Lovely website, and you'll see from yourself, the bulbs are ace. So this is just a selection of bulbs because I literally have about 10 kilos of bulbs. Most of them will go in my garden at home where I'll just dot them around the flower bed. But here they are, and as you can see, they've already started to develop shoots because they've been sitting in my shed for a couple of weeks because I've been waiting for the rain to pass. But it's not an issue, it's not a problem. Bulbs are pretty hardy little things, to be fair. Unless they go all squidgy and rotten, then they can go in. And yes, they've started and they're a bit anemic and they need some light. But before you know it, once they're planted, they'll just romp away. And next year, I'll have loads of daffs, loads of tulips and everything else popping up all over the garden. There's a lot of different ways you can plant bulbs. People dib them in with little dibber makers, or you make a hole and you drop them in, or you can layer them round, or you can just find random spots, dig a hole and throw them in. Perfect with most plants. They want to live, so no matter what you do, you don't have to be too delicate, too cautious. You could literally just throw them in like that, cover them over, and they will grow. I personally like to give them a bit of a bedding, just so they're upright, like that. But again, it's not the end of the world. It sounds awful, this, and people will criticise me doing it. If you threw it in like that and covered it over, it would grow. Probably shouldn't do it, but it would grow. If you had thousands and thousands of bulbs and you wanted to sow a whole meadow full of bulbs, you could just go along and just drop them in, drop them in, drop them in, and eventually they'd just root and grow, and they'd be fine, and they'd right themselves, and they sort themselves out. Plants want to grow, they want to live. There's nothing wrong with doing gardening how you want to do gardening. Now in pots, a lot of people say you should bury a bulb to twice its depth. So for example, that bulb would be yay deep. Smaller bulbs would be yay deep. And you can put a mixture together. You can put tulips and daffodils and everything else in the same pot. Just remember that, you know, put the bigger bulbs in first, then give them a cover over, then put the smaller bulbs in, then give them a cover over. And when you get the really teeny tiny bulbs, then put those in last. So you could have 3, 4, 5 stages of bulb planting, dependent on how big the bulbs are. Hi folks, I've put in quite a few now. I will flip the camera around and I'll show you what I've done. But I've put about 4 pots in, and I've got some left over, which I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with these now. So these 2 pots here have a mixture of, I keep getting the name wrong. It's not narcissist, is it? It's narcissus. There we go. Get it right eventually, Roscoe. So they've got narcissus, daffodils and tulips in, layered up as I showed you, 2 bulb depths, so on. Now they've got cages on. Why? Squirrels love tulips. Yes, they do. And if they sniff them out, they will dig them up and eat them. So if you can, until they get going, cover them up, because they love nothing more than a tulip snack. You know, chickens. So the same here, medium-sized pot, exactly the same system, just slightly less bulbs. Unfortunately, I've run out of cages for that one, but I'll find something later. And then these here, the same again. That little pot there just has 2 daffodils in it. So that'll be a nice little pot plant once it pops, once it starts growing. It's the sort of thing that I can take home, pop by the front door. Same with that one, put by the shed door, so on and so forth. It'll be just a nice little spring pot plant, something nice to look at. And if I decide that I want to use the pot once the daffodils have finished, I can take them out, plant them in the garden, and use the pot for something else. Be dead simple to get that bulb out of there. In fact, because they're in pots, it will be dead simple to get all the bulbs out of here next year, the year after, whenever. Replace them, rejuvenate the compost, so on and so forth. But now I have these left over, just a few, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with them. This is my salad trench, where I put rocket and other things in, edible greens and that kind of thing, spring onions. And so I've got these here, and just to help encourage nature really, I'm just going to sprinkle them in. There we go, that'll do. Doesn't have to be fancy. I just pop them upright, fairly upright, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, and put one there. I'm just going to cover them over. I've got a few more bulbs at home. I might do the whole row, get rid of that weed. So there we go, and that's it, job done. That will provide me with a little bit of colour. You have a worm for the old chickens. That'll provide me with a little bit of colour in the springtime, help the bees out, all that kind of thing. We do like the bees, don't we, chickens? So folks, for me and the girls, that's it really. That's just showing you the really simple way of growing some bulbs. You don't have to think too hard about it, just get them in the ground. Any time of the year, anytime you can find some bulbs, get them. And please go and check out, I can never say it, GT Bulb Co. I think GT. Links below, logos about somewhere. Please check them out, really cool bulbs, massive variety, and you'll find them on Twitter. So take care folks, until next time, speak soon. I've been Ross Minton, this is Grow Your Own Life. As always, please subscribe, that'll be ace. Ta-ra for now.